This is the Stanley 151 Spokeshave, and it has these knurled knobs to adjust the depth. It's a very popular spokeshave. I showed you last time on a video how to sharpen these spokeshave blades just by hand. And that's a simple way to do it. And I just mentioned briefly how to use a Tormek sharpening wheel or wet Waterstone. I'm going to show you in more detail how to sharpen it with that method. So the general idea is we're going to make this jig and mount the blade on the jig, and then that'll help us sharpen. So let me show you what you do here. So just grab a small scrap of wood. The exact length doesn't matter. This one is 1, 2, 3, about 4 inches in length. I got some 3/4 inch plywood, and make sure you have a very flat edge. So plane that, or whatever you want to do to make that flat. And that'll be my reference face, and off of that we're going to make sure everything is square. Actually, this was the reference edge, so everything is square off of that. And then also these screws are square off of that as well. So you draw a line, and then what you'll do is, let me show you here. So these screw holes are exactly at the eyelet, the opening of that 151 blade. So you can see that it's right at the edge. Then when you put the screws in, it should line up all square. So that's all screwed on. And let's go over to the Tormek. So what you want to do is take your jig, rest it on this bar, and just push in your tool rest until that bevel matches as close as you can to the wheel. You can put some marker on there. Make sure you got it right. And I've already lapped this backside. I forgot to tell you before. You can see that it's lapped there on the back. So you want to do that ahead of time. You could use the side of the stone. Even while it's mounted, you could do it if you forgot to do it. Just use the side of the stone like that. But now we're working on the bevel. We'll take a couple quick passes and see where we are. We're pretty close to the bevel already, I believe. Yeah, we're almost there. And this was a pretty beat up blade. The nice thing about this is there's a hollow ground, so if you ever want to sharpen by hand, you don't have to remove as much material. And we've got a little bit of work to do. It's always that beginning that's easy to get to. It's that the end part takes forever. That last 10%, because you're removing a lot of metal. But very close. So you can see we've removed a lot of material already, but there's still all this that we have to work on, which means we have to remove all this material to get down there. Applying even pressure. Almost there. 99%. Now, I'm going to put a little camber on the very end, so I'm just putting a lot of pressure on one side. In fact, you can just kind of put it by the edge of the stone just to take off a hair. Do the same thing here to take off a little bit of that corner so that doesn't dig in. And I think we're there. Yeah, and I can feel a burr all throughout the back. So we'll just take off the burr on this side, on the back. Want to make sure you don't tilt it. Sorry you can't see, but okay. Okay, the burr's off. Now off to the leather wheel. All right, same thing here. I've charged this with some abrasive paste and got it lined up. Now to lap the back of it, you have two options. You could do it on this wheel. You can kind of go this way. That's one way to do it. Or you can just, if you have a leather strap, you can just use that. think that's pretty good. I'm going to hit it real briefly, kind of back and forth. I think the burr kind of moves back and forth, and then just a very slight touch here. And that should do it. So let's test that. Bevel down. There's a lot of fiddling with these. Actually, I prefer the plain ones like this. It's easier to set the blade, believe it or not. So this side's not cutting yet. We'll just go a little deeper. There's a lot of play in here, so you sometimes don't know how much you're moving the blade. Oops. Or the camera. There we go. Doesn't do too well through the knot. But that's how you sharpen a Stanley number 151 Spokeshave blade using a Tormek.